Welcome to This Explainer. Today we're looking at the spaces we call home, specifically the living room and the child's bedroom. Now, most of us think we intuitively know what these rooms are for, right? The living room is for watching TV, hanging out, and the bedroom is where the kids go to play and sleep. It's pretty straightforward. But what if I told you that the entire psychological layout of our homes might be completely backwards? Okay, let's dive into this. When we picture a child's bedroom, we almost always imagine this happy, carefree sanctuary. We picture this perfect safe haven filled with toys, hobbies, and peace, completely sheltered from the heavy stress of the outside world. But developmental and environmental psychology tells a remarkably different story. Far from being just a simple playground, a child's bedroom can actually be a space of profound solitary struggle. Listen to this, because there's a psychological reality here that carries a massive amount of weight. Children will sometimes sacrifice their own dreams just to protect their family. When kids are isolated in their rooms, they aren't always just playing video games or doing homework. They are often processing immense emotional burdens. Kids are incredibly observant, way more than we give them credit for. They internalize family tensions, money issues, and all the complexities of their parents' relationship. While they're sitting alone in their rooms, they're thinking deeply about their place in the family unit, sometimes to the absolutely heartbreaking point of contemplating giving up their own future aspirations just to protect a struggling family.
Part 1. The child's hidden burden.
To truly grasp family dynamics, we really need to uncover the sheer psychological load that kids carry when they're left to process the world entirely in isolation. Let's look at what's actually running through a child's mind when that bedroom door clicks shut. They're doing the intensely hard work of figuring out their personal identity. They're navigating the absolute minefield of complex friendships, social standing, and crushes. And crucially, they're worrying about their parents. But here's a totally fascinating psychological insight. For a child to simply be able to focus on their own normal growing pains, like who they are or what their friends think, they actually require a highly stable baseline environment. If the home isn't stable, all that mental energy suddenly shifts toward the family's survival, and those personal dreams, they just get pushed aside.
So the reality is that the bedroom can be a deeply dark and heavy place for a developing mind. It's a space of intense introspection and, honestly, sometimes deep loneliness. And because the individual room carries all this heavy weight, the communal space, the living room, must step up. It absolutely must act as the ultimate, unconditional psychological shelter where kids can escape their own heavy thoughts.
Part 2. Surviving the interrogation rules.
And this brilliantly illustrates a scenario many of us might actually find pretty familiar. It's a psychological trap a child falls into when that communal shelter fails and the living room turns toxic. Say one parent, let's say dad, brings severe work stress home. The air is literally thick with tension. Meanwhile, mom desperately tries to overcompensate and fakes this happy, cheerful atmosphere. The child gets caught in what clinical psychologists call a double bind. If they side with dad and stay totally quiet just to avoid his anger, mom is left feeling isolated and the child feels immense guilt. But if they side with mom and try to laugh and enjoy the moment, dad might feel mocked by their cheerfulness and lash out. It's an impossible, completely lose-lose situation. In this kind of tense environment, the living room completely loses its function as a place of rest. It transforms into a survival battlefield. The child isn't relaxing, they are performing. They become hypervigilant, constantly monitoring everyone's facial expressions and acting out this carefully calculated survival routine. Their main goal? Just desperately trying to finish their Ps as quickly as humanly possible so they can escape back to the safety of their room.
When a child acts like the perfect, quiet, good kid, their real cries for help manifest as these tiny, easily missed behavioral glitches, what we can call micro SOS signals. Verbally, you might notice a sudden fake cheerfulness, or they might say goodbye with this unnatural finality when leaving for school. That isn't happiness, it's intense emotional suppression. Physiologically, if they suddenly lose their appetite, or, on the flip side, eat incredibly fast just to get away, that signals chronic stress. And non-verbally, a lack of eye contact or just fleeing the room immediately means they're locked in a defensive survival mode. Because they're playing the good kid role so well, parents often miss these tiny glitches entirely until much larger behavioral problems erupt down the line.
Part 3. The science of safe dining.
Now, this tension doesn't just ruin a child's mood, it fundamentally alters their physical body. Let's look at the actual biology of a family dinner. Our digestive systems are heavily controlled by our autonomic nervous system. When the living room is tense, maybe there's scolding, a stressful interrogation about grades, or just a heavy, angry silence, the child's sympathetic nervous system activates. That's the fight or flight response. When this kicks in, digestion literally halts. The body stops secreting saliva and gastric acid, which directly leads to poor nutrient absorption. Conversely, if the environment is safe and relaxed, the parasympathetic nervous system takes over. This is the rest and digest state, and it's what allows for active digestion and healthy physical growth. To put it plainly, tense meals physically halt a child's digestive system. A relaxed dinner without parental complaints or heavy sighs isn't just some nice-to-have luxury. It is a strict biological requirement for a child to build a strong, healthy body. Mental health and physical health are inextricably linked, right there at the dinner table. Part 4, the magic of parallel activity. Knowing how incredibly high the stakes are, how do we actually fix a toxic living room? Well, the answer lies in a fascinating academic concept: parallel activity. It's defined as the act of family members sharing the exact same physical space while peacefully engaging in completely different tasks. Now, what's really interesting about this slide is how counterintuitive this might sound. I mean, shouldn't quality family time mean looking at each other and interacting directly? Actually, scratch that. Direct interaction can be exhausting. Parallel activity creates an incredibly low-pressure, highly secure environment that's absolutely perfect for a developing child. Just picture this scene for a second. The whole family is gathered in the living room. Dad is chuckling at the TV, mom is smiling while organizing some school supplies, maybe the siblings are quietly wrestling or playing with toys in the corner, and you can hear the gentle clatter of a cutting board from the kitchen. These are all nonverbal cues. Researchers call them comfortable noises. They send a powerful subconscious message directly to the child. You are accepted here. You are safe. And absolutely nothing is being demanded of you right now. This comfortable background noise is basically a shield. It prevents deep isolation. Even if the child does retreat to their dark, heavy bedroom to think and process their day, hearing the gentle, predictable hum of a safe family life right through the walls acts as a psychological lifeline. It provides the grounding and, honestly, the courage they need to eventually open that bedroom door and step out, not just back into the living room, but eventually out into the wider world. Part 5. Designing your safe haven. Let's move to and see how this builds into something we can actively create in our own homes. We can build this psychological infrastructure in 3 concrete steps based on environmental psychology. Step 1. Drop work at the door. Intentionally leave your negative emotions and office stress outside. Don't let it infect the living room air. Step 2. Practice unconditional listening. When your child does speak up, validate their stories without immediate judgment, evaluation, or launching into a parental lecture. And step 3. Designate a nook. Create a dedicated, physical corner in your living space specifically designed for just passive presence. Let's zoom in on that last point for a second. The number 3. Research suggests that just 2 to 3 tatami mats worth of space, like a really small designated corner with maybe some low furniture, is literally all the architectural blank space you need to foster this environment. It provides just enough physical distance to allow for that parallel activity we talked about without forcing intense interaction. It gives everyone a place to simply be without feeling like they're in the spotlight. So the crucial point is this: just being in the same space is enough. A warm, lingering atmosphere where everyone is peacefully coexisting completely beats forced, high-pressure interaction every single time. When a child knows they can just exist in the living room without being questioned or judged, that space truly, finally becomes a sanctuary. As we wrap up this explainer, I want to leave you with one final thought to mull over tonight. Is your living room a battlefield, or is it the launchpad for your child's independence? Take a really good look at your own living space tonight. Listen to the natural sounds of your home and ask yourself what kind of psychological infrastructure you are really building for your family. Thank you so much for joining me on this journey, and I really hope this helps you see your home in a completely new light.